Well, welcome to what we're calling the Mark Fenton walking tour of Oak Park.
It's got my name on it? How cool is
Why
that?
not? A bunch of us planned a route that's going to actually take us through business districts, parks, schools, residential, and eventually it's going to have us ending up at Village Hall.
Just a little bit of background. I'm an engineer by training, actually, but I got into all this work because in my engineering work, I ended up going into the field of biomechanics and exercise science, and I got into studying how the human body works, which led me into health and fitness. I spent time at the U.S. Olympic Training Center out in Colorado Springs. I spent time working for Reebok's Human Performance Lab. I spent a lot of time encouraging people to go walk because it's good for them and telling them to exercise. All of which is great, and all of which has not worked one bit. We eat poorly and we aren't physically active enough. And one of the reasons we believe is because we don't build environments that are actually particularly conducive to that. Although we say those things, for many people those are hard to do. So the interesting thing is we go out and do these walkabouts as a method of community engagement to sort of explore whether we think the environment is encouraging for being physically active and making healthy food choices, or discouraging, all right? Because if you build an environment that's encouraging, we have pretty good evidence that actually it changes behavior. So I want you to be thinking about your number from the beginning to here, right? So let's just use that as a starting point. I mean, I know construction's going on and everything. It's not normal, but it's what it is. So 0 to 10 scale, 10 highly conducive, 0 not.
6,
4, 8.
Well, I'm stunned at the range. So I got from 0 to 9, but why were you giving it such a low score? All right, no shade. Was it dangerous?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost required single file.
Yeah, single file in some places. What else is conducive about that segment?
Walk it up.
Yeah, there's a variety of very interesting looking shops, right?
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
gorgeous places, in fact.
Food smell good.
Yeah, absolutely. I was ready to go in the cheese shop, just let you guys keep walking. Okay, ramps, keep going.
It could have been worse.
They've done a lot of accommodating. Given the nature of the work, there are ramps, I know there are gravel sections, but the signage was fairly complete. Our scores went up from the construction section, all right? But let's rattle off really quickly why. Fountain on every block.
Lots of recycling.
Recycling bins, excellent.
Benches,
Plantings, benches, wider sidewalks,
bicycles.
bike racks. I love, by the way, the bike rack was right next to one of the parking kiosks for that. So like you walk up to that and you go, geez, I could be parking free. People, right? Street side cafes, do other people find that an inducement? Do you like that?
Yeah.
Remember our rule, we like other people, even if they're not walking. Those eyes on the street make me feel comfortable. My wife walking alone, evening, gonna feel more comfortable if there are other people, if that street is populated, right? Yeah, the storefronts, and you're looking right in the windows, you're seeing what they've got going, a lot of seasonal displays and stuff, all commendable.
Lots of flowers.
Flowers, plantings. Traffic is slow. Everybody agree? The brick street, interestingly enough, tends to do that. It acts as a traffic calming device. That, plus the narrowness, the proximity of trees, all of those things. Great scores through that section, agreed? One more that I like, at least some of the buildings appear to have residential above, so I've got mixed use. All that retail activity down here, and people that can live right near that retail activity, meaning they can live a car-free, you got a bike and you got a Metro Pass, you're ready to go, right? Carry on. Got your numbers?
7, 6, 5, 7.
So I heard 6 to 9, and average about 7.5 or 8. That's pretty solid. What were the things you liked about it? So library, a lot of the plantings, a lot of green, more green, park, right? Corner park. Now you could argue traffic that's stacking is a disincentive to drive, right? I mean, we could say, well, I guess we need more lanes on this road. That would be would that be the answer to redesigning this street? Good. Thank you, bless you for saying no, those of you who did. Bring it in, everybody. 3 steps forward. No, maybe 4 or 5. Anything really big you want to mention that was notably good or bad on this last section?
Sidewalk is
Really skinny, yeah. David, you mentioned that too, where the sidewalk and sidewalk quality variable. Neat little pocket park here. Do you guys like this? Does it come? Okay, why? The guy from the park district can't talk. Why do you like it? You only are allowed to listen. Why do we like this park? What makes it appealing? You said you just read a book here the other day. Why? Why'd you end up quiet, peaceful, families?
Benches.
So there are benches. There's the little tables. There's a mix of green and hardscape, right? I've seen places like this where they try to hardscape too much of it, lots of benches. Some people don't want a bench. Kids want to run around in the grass, right? But my mom wants to be able to walk to that bench and back. So you've got this balance here that seems to work. As these trees mature and you get the shade cover, it's going to be very appealing. Anything else?
I'll just say it's a green space option for multi-unit buildings.
Yeah. So here I've got a multi-unit, multi-family housing, and it gives me a green space that's a shared space, so I don't have to give each one of these parcels a big yard, because every one of them gets to share this, by the way, which is really efficient, because not everybody's going to tend to be out here all at the same time. So I want your scores for Madison. Go.
5.
Fast food smells. Terrence is reminding us we could be scoring for food, and if we did, we'd really hit our first stretch of lots of, what are all the offerings at a 7-Eleven, at a CVS, right? It's all that packaged stuff that, now, thankfully there aren't any schools nearby where kids, when they get out, oh, really? Oh, get a load of that. So when kids get out, where do they go to get a snack, right? Popeye's Chicken, CVS. This is really a classic example. The proximity of a school to all packaged, salt and fat-laden food. I don't know, it just felt to me certainly less vibrant than all the other sections of town we've walked through. Quick observation, because there were some important things we saw in that last segment, which was as high density housing as we've seen on the walk, right? I'm going to guess then a little more economically diverse than some of the single family housing neighborhoods, which is a good thing, right? But it also means those would be people who would be great if they didn't have to have 2-car households, right? If they could own one or even no cars, if the system were available. One of the interesting things that came up, and David, I give you credit for sort of bringing this, he says, well, where's the bike parking? If you think about multifamily housing buildings like that, having lived in them myself, generally what happens is you got a locker downstairs or a basement space, but if you keep your bike down there, that's a real disincentive to use. If it's kind of a real operation to get it in and out all the time. We were talking about, okay, what would it take to build some outside parking structures? But then, vandalism and theft are a real issue. So what does it look like? Do we have outdoor structures? Do we have outdoor structures that are locked? Do you have, and then that gets to the conversation. You could say the same about the school. If you have a school where you really want to encourage kids to bike, increasingly we're seeing schools have bike corrals that get locked by the principal in the morning, opened up in the afternoon, maybe have to be opened at lunch if we have an open campus for lunch. But they've dealt with those questions pretty directly and said, yeah, if we're going to expect people to ride bikes, we got to create an environment where they feel it's safe to keep it in a highly accessible location, otherwise they're just not going to use it.